Hey, this is Man Unit, and I'm going to teach you how to raise your KD and dominate Call of Duty. This series is not only for beginners, but for veterans and also competitive teams. So I'm using Nuketown Domination as my first example, and I will probably go over the other maps later on. Alright, so let's talk about spawns, and the first tip I have for you all is to focus on the center spawn. We all know about the enemy spawns in and around the buildings, but what most of you probably don't realize is that the center spawn, or Jeep in this map, is the dead zone. Or in other words, when you rush your enemies and you have the original spawns in your sights, then they will spawn in the center of the map. What some people don't realize is that by rushing the enemy, you cause them to spawn behind you or in the center of the map. Now this is different from spawn flipping, which is to rush and take the opposition's flag. But if you can remember that center spawn and focus on it, then I can teach you how to continue your attack. And Call of Duty is a game primarily focused on attack. You are the attacking team of Call of Duty, or at least you want to be. And this next concept is kind of difficult to explain. But think of your team as a football team. You've got defenders, your midfielders, and attackers. Now, an attacker's job is to rush as fast as he can to the enemy spawn, and so they generally need the best reactions and aim. So if you think about formations, you have the strikers up front, shooting, and right behind them is the midfielders. Now midfielders must be ready to attack, but cover their teammates, the strikers. A midfielder stays on the attacker, but keeping his distance to around 5 meters or 15 feet. Finally, a midfielder's job is not to go too far ahead of the B flag. Now the defender has to stay behind. There should be one defender in Call of Duty. A defender caps the first flag. He then decides when it is time to cap the B flag. When the defender caps the B flag, then the midfielder runs back to join him. But obviously, a defender must decide if it's safe and if both his attackers and midfielders are alive and well. Now the next tip is always having your route ready in advance. This route I'm going to show is a great rushing tactic I use on the opposition. And you can try it as well. In fact, please try all these tips I give out in this video. Don't watch this video now and then go and play next week. Try these tactics out immediately. They might not work for you at first, but if you keep trying and don't get discouraged about failing, I guarantee you will improve as a player.
Yeah, that's all well and good too, but I can't play like this because I roll with public noobs.
Well, actually you can, man, because all you have to do is follow your teammates' positions. Which brings me to my next tip, which is to always keep an eye on the radar. Alright, so let's go back a bit. There's 4 guys coming at us, we drop them. Yep. Now look at the radar. In the grassy alleyway opposite of mine, there was a red indicator. That's the guy sitting in the corner. Now, there is always a guy usually in that corner, and I was alert like 10 seconds before this. And that is why I dropped him. If I hadn't been watching the radar at that particular moment, I probably wouldn't have spotted that guy, and I'm always predicting where he's probably likely to be. If he wasn't there, well then he was probably in the building, hiding, or he had moved on. But most likely he was going to be there still. And I turned and I was ready for him in advance because of the radar. Now my next tip's pretty obvious, but it is to run from cover to cover. And as you can see, every single time, every single engagement, I am running from cover to cover and retreating. And it's okay to retreat because you don't want the enemy to know your exact position. And by retreating, you are setting up for another attack. And that's exactly what I did over here. I flipped over to the other side and the enemy's still waiting for me. Okay, so your next question is probably, well, what should I use on Nuketown? And it's really up to you, really. I don't really care about what gun you use. Perks, I recommend Flak Jacket for the explosives, or Hardline for those that are a bit inexperienced and are looking for, the higher kill streaks. Stay clear of Ghost because it's a small map, it's kind of useless anyway. And stay clear of Scavenger because there are a lot of weapons to pick up to choose from anyway. And lightweight, you can get away with lightweight. If you want to rush and you want to get that extra advantage, use lightweight. I don't need lightweight. I just find that without lightweight, I can rush at a decent speed. And you don't want to rush too fast. That's the key. You don't want to rush too fast on the map. And Nuketown is such a small map that you can tend to rush too quickly, and that can be bad. Second perk, definitely sleight of hand. Steady aim is okay, but I would recommend sleight of hand simply because there's going to be a lot of situations on this map that you're going to need to get your weapon up faster than your opponents. So I would recommend sleight of hand. Sleight of hand pro obviously as well. And the final perk I use is tactical mask. And I honestly don't see why you would need another one. Marathon is useless. You don't want to constantly be running in the game. And Ninja is, well, Ninja's useless in this game, but especially on Nuketown since there's so many explosions and that going off. Second Chance is for fags, and Hacker is kind of useless because a lot of the points where hackers are going to use claymores are in the buildings, and most rushers should stay clear of buildings. The only times I'm ever in a building is if my teammates are in a building and I know that it is well clear of enemies. Finally, kill streaks to use on Nuketown. I mean, it's up to you again, but if you really want to go all out, Rolling Thunder, Chopper Gunner, Gunship, you could use Mortar Team, you could use Napalm Strike. All of these kill streaks are going to get you a lot of kills. The attack dogs will gain you a decent amount of kills as well, but this is really the map to use Gunship. So there you go, there's a few tips and tricks on Nuketown, and I'll have more of these coming for the other maps. Be sure to rate and comment. This video took quite a while to obviously make, and if you want some more strategy, subscribe, and I'll have plenty more in the near future. Thank you.